In this video, you're gonna learn how you can break through the limit of 20 custom dimensions of the free version of Google Analytics. All and more coming up right after this. Hi there, and welcome to another video of MeasureSchool.com, where we teach you the data-driven way of digital marketing. My name is Julian, and on this channel we do marketing tech reviews, tutorials, and give you tips for better tracking, just like this one. So if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Now, custom dimensions are a really vital feature for giving your data more context in Google Analytics. Let's say you have a blog post and you want to send information about who wrote that particular blog post, when it was published, or the word count of that blog post to Google Analytics. You can do all this with the help of custom dimensions. Unfortunately, in the free version of Google Analytics, there are only 20 custom dimensions available for you to fill. Unless you are a Google Analytics 360 customer, there's no way to getting around this limit. Or is there? Here's a little trick you can use to extend beyond the 20 custom dimensions. Now we got lots to cover, so let's dive in. Today our journey starts at this demo shop where we have a product and we want to send in a custom dimension to Google Analytics. That means we want to enrich the data that we send anyways, such as a page view, to Google Analytics with custom information that is not automatically picked up by Google Analytics. Now we have another video on how to send in custom dimensions via Google Tag Manager. So if you want to be able to do that, check out this video that we're going to link up in the description below. But normally, in order to enrich the data, you would go over to Google Analytics in the admin section and go under the custom definitions here and custom dimensions. And here's where you would input a new custom dimension to be able to send that over to Google Analytics. Now the restriction here is that you only have 20 custom dimensions to your disposal. Now this feature is used quite often, and if you think that it is currently underutilized in your account, then go over to the blog post of the Next Web, where the guys in the marketing department have given us some examples of 50 custom dimensions that they sent over into their Google Analytics Premium account. So at some point you might run out of custom dimensions within your Google Analytics account and want to extend it beyond 20 custom dimensions. This is only possible by buying a license for the Google Analytics 360 product. So I want to show you a little trick in order to send in custom information outside of this custom dimension specification. How would you do that? Well, now on this website, I want to show you what data actually gets sent over to Google Analytics when our tracking script is executed. We can see that with the GA debugger extension enabled and going into our JavaScript console, which we can see here under developer tools. We have our JavaScript console and we can see here what data gets sent over to Google Analytics. Let's reload this. And the most important information is probably the page view that gets sent. And we have a host of other dimensions that are attached to this data point, to this metric. So for example, we have the page URL, the client ID, the title of this page, but maybe also some information that is less used in your account, such as the API version, the AdSense ID, the screen resolution, or the viewport size. So let's go with our example here, Flash version. Do you actually use that in your reports? Which means, do you go into Google Analytics and look into your page report, for example, and drill down here on secondary dimension Flash version? Probably not, unless you have Flash running on your page and want to debug this option. It might be useful to look at, but in most cases, it's unnecessary to send over with the hit. Now we can utilize this slot of Flash version that gets sent by default to manipulate it and send in our custom data information. How is this possible? Well, first of all, let's look at our Analytics.js field reference. This is where all our fields that are sent over to Google Analytics are documented and what value they need to hold and what restrictions they have. So we can look here for our Flash version. And here we find the field. Now this field takes a text property with the maximum length of 20 bytes and is filled with this example value.
Now, when our Google Analytics code executes, we could override this field in order to send our custom information over to Google Analytics and make it visible under the dimension of Flash version in our interface. And this is a handy trick to get around the 20 dimensions limit. So how would we do that? Well, if you are working with Google Tag Manager, it's actually pretty easy. Let's say on this page we want to pick up custom data layer information. Let's first of all make the data layer visible by going into our preview and debug mode. And we see here that we have a data layer that has some custom information in here. This is something you need to get your developer to implement custom on your page or use a plugin like we did on this WordPress website. And we see some interesting information that we might want to send over as a custom dimension into Google Analytics. So for example, here we have a page post date that I want to send into Google Analytics in order to compare our page views by when they were published. This is, for example, important for blog posts. So let's first of all pull this value out of the data layer. This can be done with a data layer variable. So let's go over to variables here and click on new. And we'll build a data layer variable for the page post date. The configurations will be a data layer variable. And we need to copy the key here, so page post date, into our data layer variable name. Then save this. And we should now have it available. Let's refresh this. Here are our variables. And we should see our data layer page post date with the date when this was published. So this is now something I want to send in with our Google Analytics page view tag. How can we do this? Let's go back to our Google Tag Manager. Under tags, we have already a Google Analytics page view tag. This is something we're going to modify. Now, normally we would set a custom dimension here, enter our index and our dimension value. But if they're all filled up, we can use this handy trick, our field to set option here, and use our Flash version. This is in this list, or we can just enter it, Flash version, with our value here. Let's fill this dynamically with our data layer variable page post date. That should do it. Let's save this. Refresh our preview and debug mode. Refresh our page. And we see our Google Analytics page view tag fired. And the configurations have the Flash version June 7th, 2013. Let's check that back in our GA debugger by opening up our developer tools. And this time we see that the Flash version was dynamically filled with our post date. So we have actually overwritten our Flash version field with custom data layer information. That will show up in our reports, of course, under the Flash version custom dimension. Now I have prepared something here just to show you. It will take a while once you send it in. But as we can see, it will then be automatically filled with the page post date that you filled into the Flash version field. And that's how you can utilize the Flash version dimension as a custom dimension field without using up one of the slots of the custom dimensions within your account. Now, the obvious downsides of this is that you cannot really control the scope of this. So the Flash version field in this case is hit scoped, and it will be applied to every page view or every event that is sent to Google Analytics. So I hope you find this tip helpful. Don't forget in the end to publish this to a version live to all your users.
So there you have it. This is how you can utilize unused dimensions to enrich your data beyond the 20 custom dimensions of your free Google Analytics account. Did you find this useful? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, please go ahead and hit that like button, share it to a friend, and subscribe to this channel to get more of these videos every Wednesday. My name is Julian. Till next time.